Good day, Andrea.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming. This is our first interview.
Oh,
The
really?
plan is
Am
to
I
interview.
first?
Yeah, you're the
Oh.
first. I want to interview all the best A1 sound engineers and compile like a handbook of tips and tricks and
Nice.
insights. So I'm very delighted, sincerely, that you come and share your wisdom.
Nice. Thank
Yeah.
you. I will give you a list of people you can call
Great, thank you.
that I know they're better than.
So this is Andrea Arenas, front of house legend. At this point, I will add some images of you on the job and doing what you do. And here is Andrea at work. Where are you from and how did you get started?
I'm from Venezuela, and I got started. I like to say that I started in the field of music and arts from when I was 10 years old because I started playing percussion in an orchestra. Since that time, I haven't been away from the entertainment world.
I see.
So even though I didn't do sounds in the beginning, since the beginning, and I don't do music now 100%, I've been in the career since I was 10.
I see. So you
Yeah.
came via as a young musician.
Correct. Then I did a career in electronic engineering.
Oh, I see. I
Then
see.
I went into sound, and then now I do everything a little bit. But my main career path is sound.
You told me before you ran away and joined the circus.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Is that how it is, or did I miss something there? You're
No, it's cool. Of
Yeah.
course, it's cool. You travel, you
Yeah,
know a lot
yeah.
of people from different parts of the world.
Yeah.
It is a interesting job because you travel with your theater.
Yeah.
You could say that. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
implies also a lot of hard effort.
Understood.
Like physical work. Part of the job of the sound. It's not only mixing and taking
Yeah.
care of the musicians. You have to actually build the tent with everyone else and
Build
be
the
part of the crew.
Wow, build the tent. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was
Yeah.
pain.
So I wanted to ask all of the engineers, what's in your toolkit?
It depends on the work I'm hired for. Like
Okay.
if I am going to do part of the setup, not front of house, let's say, I take some things like, I don't know, knee pads, headlamp,
All right.
gloves,
Yeah.
a Leatherman, my belt. I have a belt
Yeah.
to put my things because usually women's pants don't have pockets, so
Right.
I carry a belt all the time.
Makes
and,
sense. Makes sense.
It depends, so or a cable tester, or if I'm gonna do front of house, I guess I would carry. I don't have it in my kit, but I think people should have like
Right.
some sort of SPL
SP,
meter.
SPL meter.
If you have a computer with any of these softwares, smart or measurement mics,
Sure.
I think it should be a
Sure.
must.
Do you think it's essential to have like a really high-end measurement mic compared with or is a measurement mic a
I
measurement
think
mic?
it's essential to have whatever you can have because not everybody has the same budget.
Fair
So,
enough.
Yeah, so
Fair
it
enough.
doesn't matter if you have the more so expensive. If you do how to do your job, and
Fair enough,
use
fair
the-
enough.
I think the best people are the ones who can do the job with the tools they have.
Excellent. What people skills do newcomers need?
I think there are a few. It's hard because you need to be very communicative, and that means also be very good at listening what you're being told to do. Because most of the time we are working for a client or for someone else. We are not like the main character in the story. So we need to listen to what people want and do what they really want, and not whatever is in your mind. Of course,
Okay.
you could feel entitled to give your creativity
Right.
as part of your job, but you need to really listen. So listening, critical listening is, I think, one of the main skills to have.
Any do's and don'ts?
In life, or
People skills. For let's say I send a skill tech graduate to a gig.
don't be late, ever, ever, ever.
Okay,
ever, ever.
okay.
If we have set up at 9 a.m., 6 a.m., 3 a.m., it means we need to be there at 6 or 9 or 3 because there is a program, ideally. And that means we are going to take an amount of hours that need to be considered, so don't be late.
Okay.
Also because you are working with the team.
Yeah.
And if you're late, that means the other members of the team need to work harder because you're not there.
Understood.
So
Understood.
that's a hard no for me.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Don't.
Any other don'ts?
Don't be disrespectful.
Okay.
But that's a very broad one.
It's a tough one. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. New sound person coming in. What's the essential sound skills? Do they need to know how to mix? Do they need to know how to record?
I think they need to really, really understand the signal flow of the setup and how sound works. Because usually a technician is going to help to set up everything, connect cables and everything. So they need to understand where the signal goes and where it comes from. So when they connect cables and they understand why am I putting this cable here and not there, and why am I using this connector instead of the other.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
I think that's when I see people struggling, that's the main one, that they don't know what they're doing because they don't understand how the sound is traveling.
Fair enough. Signal flow.
Yeah.
I noticed that you do studio and live. This is a bit unusual, I would say. That mostly guys do live or they do studio. I say guys. I'm going to say guys and girls. Maybe they're doing one or the other. It's rare that I meet someone who does both. I mean, is that true?
I started doing studio, and I missed the excitement of doing live sound, of being part of the show.
Right.
And then I started learning live, and I started doing live, and then I missed the creativity part of mixing songs.
I see. Yes.
So I like to be back and forth on
okay.
it, and I think it's two very different worlds. I also like to do post-production, or composing for film. So
right.
I think I just like to explore different sides of my creativity because I'm not 100% technical. I'm a musician too, so I like to do other things.
EQ in live versus EQ in studio.
Yeah, no, it's different, of course.
It's different. How is it?
Because when you do studio, you are using EQ more like a creative tool to achieve a color that you want for the song, or you want to remove some things. Of course, there are some technical parts that you also need to remove so the song doesn't get muddy or etc. But in live, you need EQing for dealing with feedback mostly.
I see.
And sometimes coloring the guitar that you want is not as important. That's really EQing, so the feedback is not there.
Got ya.
So I do not have a strategy, follow steps, do this 200 when you have this kick. No, because I think every instrument is different. Every person who kicks the same kick is not the same. The way they kick it, it's not the same mallet. It's not the same room. It's no gig is going to be the same as another one. So
understood.
So you really need to understand physics. What do you want from your instrument or from your system? I don't know if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I have a question. Should sound engineers know some music theory?
That's a hard one because I know very, very good engineers who have no clue about music.
Yes.
However, I feel it's harder to work when you don't know music.
Right.
With the musicians, of course.
As I put this post on LinkedIn, almost everybody said yes. But there was one guy, so Andy Jackson, he's a friend of mine. He's coming to the channel soon, hopefully. Andy, needs to get you in. He's a legend. It's like, so this is interesting that you said that very good engineers don't have, but then you speak to people and you need some theory. So it's a good talking point.
I think it's better as a communication to be able to talk to the musicians because you are working for the musician. Because without the musician, where are you going to amplify or mix or record?
Right.
And when you know the language, it's easier.
You asked me not to ask you about DCAs and subgroups. So obviously, some engineers, they ask me DCAs versus subgroups. When do I use them? When do you use them?
I think it depends on the console you have, the size of the gig you're doing, because sometimes you don't need DCAs because it's a very small amount of channels. You have a console that has enough faders on the layout to manage with them all. But if you have a big setup with too many channels and you need to maybe I don't know. It depends also where the signal flow goes. It's too many answers in my
Fine,
head.
fine,
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Understood. So it depends.
It's a depends. Yeah.
Understood.
It's
So
not
it's
as everything is not a hard rule. You always need to use DCAs for the. I think there is no hard rules in sound.
I think this is true for a lot of things. Reverbs, EQs,
For
compression.
everything. Yeah.
There's always it's hard to get a straight answer out of.
You always have to use this microphone for the. No, I
yeah,
don't believe that.
yeah. One more thing. Noise gates. Do you use them and what on?
I barely use them.
Okay.
If I do, maybe live or something that I cannot control because the setup passed and the sound check passed, and then you are in the middle of the show and you have a noise and you have to remove it.
Fine.
But I always try to troubleshoot first
Okay.
and try to remove the noise, not just mask it.
Fine,
You know?
fine. So moving on from the engineering stuff, if you was to start tomorrow your own sound engineering school, what would be the first week of things you teach the brand new sound engineers?
I think I will take everyone to shadow on a show to see what they really want to do, because some people have different ideas of what sound can be.
I see.
And live sound is quite hard. Like, you do a lot of hours. You are the first one to arrive. You're the last one to leave. You do a lot of pushing, carrying, lifting, getting dirty, and it's not only I want to mix. And I think that would be my first week of lessons. Like, let's see what you do here. If you do this job, what do you do?
Are you on the right course? To work in audio, I find there's sacrifices, personal sacrifices.
A lot,
I missed birthdays, events, no planning. Do you find that there's a lot of sacrifices to be made, I think, to be...
I don't see it as a sacrifice if it's what you like, and I do it like that's my lifestyle. Like I don't go to birthdays and things since I was 10 because I was touring with the orchestra.
Yeah, understood.
And I got used to it. It's not like, I don't like it or I do like it. It's just my lifestyle.
Understood.
People who do sound need to understand it's a kind of a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle, yes. There's one thing I want to ask. Freelance versus full-time.
That's a good one. I've been freelancing lately, and it's the first time I've done it.
Yeah.
I do like the flexibility of having the time to do creative things for myself. In other people's cases would be family or whatever. For me, it's composing and doing things like this. But I mean, being in Dubai, it's a plus because here is a good market and you can get very good money freelancing. I don't know realities for other people's in other places.
Sure.
But being an employee, it's always very good to have your stability. So it depends.
So how can other aspiring Andrea Arenas, newcomer girls or guys, how can we follow in your footsteps to be front of house at the opera, engineering big shows, how to follow in your footsteps to someone new?
I wouldn't recommend anyone following anyone's steps.
Okay.
I would recommend making their own path because everybody has different circumstances in life and the way you achieve things. It's totally different for each one. The only advice I give is to be true to yourself and trust your instincts. It's just, this is what you want to do it.
Okay.
You will find a way to do.
Fair enough. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Really
It
cool.
was very vague. Like, do you recommend it?